a requested tutorial, which is how I teach backward leg weaves. This is without a doubt probably the most impressive trick that Sirius knows, I think, or at least it is one of the most impressive tricks, particularly because of her size, and it took us quite a bit of time to master because I'm not very tall and she's very large. So to start, you want to make sure that your dog is all limbered up. It is a more high impact trick that they're going to be doing, so I like to make sure she is all warmed up before we do this one. And the key to teaching backward leg weaves is really in the pivot. I'm going to show the backward leg weave first, and then we'll talk about how we get there. So middle, good, back, pivot, 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 good, stand, back, pivot, 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 pivot around, yay, good girl! So that is the backward leg weave, and the key to it is really in orbits. So the reason I think definitely it is one of her favorite tricks, orbit by far her, what did you orbit? Good. Her favorite trick. We definitely have experiences of her doing rally and me asking her to line up, orbit, and her throwing in an orbit because she just thinks it's really, really fun and funny. I do have a tutorial for how I teach orbits on our channel. It's also in our book, Chew This Journal. Stand. But the key to getting that backward leg weave is having a really strong orbit, and to get a really strong orbit, you need a really strong pivot. A really strong pivot. Good. Good. Which is a foundation skill that I love to teach. I know I turned off our air purifier back here, and she's like, why isn't it making noise? It's different. So once you have a really strong pivot, once you have a really strong orbit, it's time to put it together into teaching our backward leg weaves. This is much easier to do if you have a smaller dog, if you have a little wiry dog, much, much easier for our Border Collie friends than if you have a giant. So to start this, I like to start them in middle position, middle, come middle, forward, good. So teach your middle position, which is already, as you can see, a challenge for us because of how short I am and how tall she is. Once you have that, you're gonna have treats in both your hands, and from that position, you're going to ask your dog to orbit, orbit. There you go, orbit, 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 yes. And when you're first learning, I'm gonna help them out, drop my treat, and make sure that I move my body a little bit to help catch them into back between my legs. Stand, good. And then again, I'm just going to ask her back orbit. And I'm going to help her out if I need to by going back with my treat. Orbit, orbit, orbit. Yes, good girl. And so you may again, with that, want to do a little bit of luring. I know, I'm too short. You know that? Good. Do a little bit of luring, either bending back whichever way they need to go to help them hit that orbit going back between your legs. This is particularly true if you have a very tall dog and you are very short, because they may be a little like, where are you? What am I doing? Okay, stand. Upright, stand. Good. So again, and it helps if they know back a little bit too, but orbit is really what they need here. So you're starting between your legs, you have treats, and you're saying back orbit. You're gonna go back to your treat, orbit, 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 orbit. Stand. And it helps them back through. Good girl. Back, orbit. Move back, and just make sure that you're moving into position to help catch them, good girl, in between your legs again. And that just takes a ton of practice. That's really, really about where most of the time with teaching this trick gets spent, is helping them to get in position, to figure out what you're looking for, and then to help them figure that out. And then once they've got it, what they're looking at is how you're shifting your weight, is cueing them which direction to go. Okay, back orbit. Orbit, 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 yes! Back orbit, good, back orbit, back orbit, back orbit, orbit. Yes! And that is how you teach the backward leg weave. It takes a ton of practice, definitely, especially for these big guys, but it can be done, especially if they really enjoy orbit. Orbit is, like I said, her favorite trick, and that goes a long way with mastering backward leg weaves. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know if this was helpful. It really is one of those tricks that you just have to really break down and practice. So make sure you have a strong pivot, make sure you have a strong orbit before you start putting it together to try to get that backward leg weave. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you're having fun with your dogs. I can't wait to see you again in another training video very, very soon. Let us know if you have requests for other training tutorials. This one came from our group on Facebook, Tricks in the City, same name as one of our other training books. And we will see you again in another video very soon. In the meantime, don't forget to have fun with your dogs. Bye.